Hello and welcome to FamilyBond, the show where we explore the beauty, the complexity, and the realness of Nigerian family life. I am your host, Emilia. Now, here is a hard truth. Not all siblings are close, some barely speak. Others carry wounds from childhood that have never healed. In many homes, siblings live like strangers or worse, rivals. But what causes this drift? Is it parental favoritism, unresolved childhood fights, or even adult misunderstanding? More importantly, how can this bond be rebuilt? Today, we are not shying away from it. We are talking about siblings' relationships, the good, the bad, and the painful silence in between. Joining me today are two special guests who know what it means to navigate sibling dynamics. Please welcome Miss Chioma and Miss Amina. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor to be here.
I know, right? Miss Amina, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Before we go further, please introduce yourselves to our audience.
All right. Hi, it's good to be here, like I said. My name is Chioma and I work as a presenter.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That means we are going to be presenting together.
Yes, everything media. I do everything media, literally.
No problem. Welcome.
Okay, hi, my name is Minsky. I'm a PR person.
All right, Minsky and Miss Chioma, welcome.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's not waste time, right? Many sibling issues start from childhood, from comparison to competition and just growing up differently. So growing up, what was your relationship like with your siblings?
I find this question very interesting because I would say that I grew up thinking I had a relationship with my siblings just to become an adult and realize that I did not really have an actual relationship.
Wow.
So my mom was like my only parents growing up, right? And she was mostly busy and I was mostly at home with my sisters. But I discovered, I have only sisters, actually, 2 sisters. So we used to play a lot, but we never had this bond where I could come and meet my elder sister and tell her, oh, this person did something and it made me feel bad. But if it's to play, we knew how to play. We could go and gossip about somebody, but we didn't build a personal bond where I
can
could
share.
Yes, where I could have comfort. All right, so like you said in the question, it is really from the very fundamental age when we are still very little that we begin to build the relationship that is going to actually blossom when we become adults. So for me now, like I was saying, I think I'm just getting to build an actual relationship with my siblings, and it's not the easiest thing to do because we grew up together, and since we're not able to establish those relationships growing up, now it's a bit difficult. But I'm trying as much as I can, at least within my power, and I think my sisters too are trying. They're telling me things that normally if they're telling me, you know how your sister will be telling you something, I'm like,
And you'll be,
when did my sister become this wise? So that's the feeling I'm having with my sisters now, but I want us to continue to build it because they're going to be my children's aunties.
of
So
course.
they've got to be wise. So for me, I would say that my relationship growing up was not the best with my siblings, but it is getting better.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Chioma. Let's hear from you, Miss Minsky.
Okay, growing up with my siblings was, I don't know, it was, I should say perfect because I grew up with my siblings, I grew up with my cousins, and then it was like, I had like a large family. So I had my cousins, I had my siblings, and then weekends, we spend weekends in at my cousin's place in Festac. I grew up in Lagos. So I don't even know.
Activities.
Yes, because we're always, it's not like we sit down
Together.
and
Yes.
speak and like gossip about, confide in each other. No, they were way older than
You.
Oh, there's a huge gap.
Yes, so my cousins were there, my sisters, so it was just overwhelming. And my dad was just an amazing father because my cousins were like my siblings too.
Yeah.
So it was amazing, to be honest. It was amazing, and their kids are like my children too. So I was still very close with my cousins and my siblings. So yeah, it was amazing.
Interesting. Okay, was there ever a time when you felt there was a special treatment in your home, like where parents prefer the other kid than was there ever a time like that, and how did it shape your bond with your siblings?
I don't know. I don't know if I was supposed to answer this because I feel I'm guilty of this. So when I was growing up, I used to be very intelligent. It's not like I'm dumb now, guys.
You were the favorite
yes.
child.
So my neighbors used to come to my house and be like, my mother prefers me over my sisters, and that wasn't really it, because I think that at different times my mother had favorite children. But one thing I think I liked that my mother did was she never really tried to show it. But even at the point where my neighbor noticed it, because it was a big issue at the time, she now started working on it. So at this point now, you think that my younger sister is my mother's favorite. Sometimes you think I'm my mother's favorite. Sometimes you think it's my elder sister. So yes, but at some point it was me, because I'll always come with the first position, second position. And my younger sister was quite intelligent, so she used to come like third, sometimes second. But my elder sister never really liked school. I know that in Nigeria we kind of assess our intelligence based on results, but it's not really by like that. So there is more to life than results. That report sheet can be anything. Exactly. So when I was doing so well in school, and I'm one person that is very expressive. Like the first time when I was still growing up, that a boy tried to do something to me, I went to tell my mother, so I could confide in my mother for a lot of things, or with a lot of things. So my mother liked me because I always come and tell her, Mommy, if this person does this, what should I do? She'll say, do this. So parents like children that will come to them and talk about things, open up to them. So because I was always that child that did that, my mother seemed to like me. It was obvious. It was like favoritism. So when my neighbor told my mother and a few other neighbors, my mother was like, okay, she needs to actually curtail it, so I did not start building enmity between me and my sisters. So she worked on that, and even me too. And I got used to it. I got used to not being my mother's favorite child, because she always shouts, Chioma, have you eaten? Chioma, have you done this? So I started getting used to not being the favorite child.
I will ask you a question, but let's hear from Miss Minsky.
Let's hear from you.
Growing up, let me see. Yes, Hawa. Hey, my mother, you see, I will send this video to you. Growing up, my mother, when we do something, she just say, Hawa, Zonan, let's come here.
Who is Hawa? Your
my older sister. She's yellow like this. My mother does not like beating her. My mother used to beat.
Hey, finest.
She was the finest though. Yeah, she was the finest.
Okay, some parents like the fine ones.
My mother used to beat. I will send this video to you, Mama Musa. My dad has never done this to any of us. But my mother, so growing up, to be honest, I think Hawa was my mom's favorite. Yeah, Hawa.
Did it affect you?
It didn't affect us because my dad was there for us.
Okay.
When we needed to go to the beach, Mr. Biggs, I would just go to his room under his pillow. That money, we just go and remove money.
So are you telling us you were stealing?
I was not. No, I never stole.
He gives you permission.
Yeah,
he gives you permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad was like this.
Okay.
But my mother, that woman. So I don't know.
Okay, Miss Chioma, back to you now. Did you allow it to get into your head, like the way you treat your sibling, simply because you felt like you were the favorite among your sibling, like your mom preferred you than the others? Did it get to you? Did it get to you?
I'll be very honest in responding to this question.
Please.
So, quite honestly, at some point, it started getting to me. And primarily, I used to be a very hardworking child. Like, I'm that one child that wake up in the morning and I can clean the whole house. There were times when I slept around 1
and you don't look like someone that cleans.
Exactly. People don't think I know how to wash the back of pot. But if I wash for you...
Oh, shit!
Let me not say the second thing I know how to do.
She's a white material, 1 million yards.
So, at that time, I was always the one doing the house chores. So I think that was another reason. Okay, I didn't mention. That was probably another reason why my mother liked me so much.
Okay.
Because I'm the one that always say, oh, this chair is dirty. I will take the chair out and wash it. I could clean everywhere, even the
I think every parent likes that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at some point, when I started noticing that, oh, it was because of that, I started being rude to my sisters, especially my elder sister, because my sister has I hope she sees this, but I hope she doesn't see it at the same time. She was lazy. she can pay you to do her chores for her. Do you get? So when I started realizing that her laziness was beginning to make me feel like I'm doing so much, my mother always say, only Chioma wash plate, only Chioma clean the house, only Chioma. And I'm like, suckers, you can't do this. So today I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do it. It's like getting to my head and all that. So I'll say that yes, really, if you're not careful, you can get to your head. But if you know how to curtail it, because for me, I noticed it. Though I don't think I started working on it early enough, because that was like, maybe I was like 15, 16 when it was getting to my head very
and you
well.
know such things create rivalry between
siblings,
which is not good.
Yeah, so at some point I didn't used to speak to my elder sister for some reason. There were different things. Anyway, some of them are personal, but I didn't really used to speak to her. I used to feel like I was the firstborn. I was bigger than her because I was this, I was that. So
and the fact that you were intelligent, you also also got to you.
Yes, and because my mother, yes, I will speak more than her. What I mean is, like, it's not like I speak good better than her. She's quiet, so I could go and talk a lot, and people would just like me more than they would like her. So I started feeling like, oh, she's quiet, she's timid and everything. But over time, I realized that it's her personality, and I cannot come and override her in that. And so I started working on it. And to be honest, I've worked on it so much that you would not even know that my mother has any favorites. You would not know that there was ever a time when I was disrespectful to her because I felt I was my mother's favorite, and even to my younger sister. So I'll say that I worked on it.
Interesting perspective. It seems childhood is not just about growing up together. It's about what we carry into adulthood. Now let's fast forward a little into childhood, adulthood. Life gets busy. People marry. People move away. But sometimes silence is not distant. Okay. How has adulthood changed your relationship with your siblings?
So again, this conversation kind of feels like a confession of sorts.
Please confess and be honest.
So because I grew up in a place where I was mostly around my sisters and a few other people, and then because of my neighborhood, I didn't really like to associate with people.
Others.
Like, I could be around people, but I do not want to have a relationship with you.
Them.
Like, I can just come say hello to you, do what I need to do, and get out. So I never really cared about people. So now growing up and seeing people having relationships, I'll use my roommate for instance now. I see how she calls people and checking on them and asks genuine questions, and I've never had that with my siblings. So because I noticed somebody else do it, and I know that it is a good thing to do, I'm beginning to emulate it. Sometimes it feels very plastic. Basically, seeing my roommates discuss with her female friends, discuss with her parents, her aunties, and well, she's the only girl, so we have brothers as well. I'm like, this is what a relationship should look like. So I'm trying to now imbibe that into my life and in my relationship with my sisters. It's not really been working because my sister's like, Chioma, you like this, you have sense like that. When did you start checking in on me like this? This is weird. So that's to tell you that I never really had a relationship with them, because calling them to just say, I wanted to just check in on you, how you doing? I heard you are not feeling so well. They're like, this is strange. Chioma, you're becoming a human being and all that. But I'm like, anyways, we ought to be human beings, right? So I'm learning from other people, even though it's not something I learned from my personal family. But I'm seeing good things here, getting bits from my from other people's family, this family, that family, seeing things in different places, even from movies and from other videos that I watch. I learned to build a relationship with my siblings, and it's been going well.
Nice.
I think adulthood taught me a lot when it comes to my siblings, because as I said earlier, I come from a very, very large family. I have older sisters, and then I have cousins, I have everyone. So it's dicey, because you know how this person will do something to you, now call that person to gossip about that person, and then before you know, the other person will hear that you call this person. So there's always this sibling rivalry,
conflict.
Yes. It's not easy, to be honest, because in my own next world, I repeat, I will not have plenty children. It's not easy.
Do you have now already? You said you
have
plenty siblings, or you have plenty children.
Siblings, I can't avoid. You understand? But children. So I now know what it feels like to have so many children, because it's a lie when my dad says, "Oh, he loves all of us equally."
It's not possible.
And it's like my sister I stay with now. I've never had a relationship with her. Ever. I didn't know what it felt like to have an elder. She's our firstborn. Now I live with her now, and I know what it feels like to have an older sibling. I tell her basically everything. I walk, I'll tell her, oh, Emilia, Chioma, she knows everything. She'll come to my room, sit me down.
But how do you feel when you tell your sister? Because see, the truth is, sibling relationship is sweet.
Yes.
Especially when you guys have the same interest for each other.
It's amazing, trust me, amazing balls.
Okay, let's move forward. Have you ever had a major fallout with a sibling? What caused it, and how was it resolved?
Okay, so growing up, let me give a bit of a backstory. When I was growing up, my family is based in Jos. But growing up, I had to come and stay with one of my aunties in Abuja. So I stayed with her for a bit, and while I was staying with her, they taught me not to share anything. They told me that I shouldn't share, though my auntie was specific, do not share your towels, which is right. But at some point, she now started saying, no, don't share your clothes with other people and stuff. So when I went back to Jos, I hated to share my things with my sisters.
But I don't think that one, except I'm not wearing it again. If I'm not wearing it again, then I can give. And even if you carry from me and wear,
So you can't like
So you can't share. You and your sister don't wear the same clothes.
I have a friend called Ebere. No, why they laugh like that?
Ebere make me laugh.
Now I have a friend Ebere. Whenever I see her with a hair, I'll just say your sister's hair, and then she laughs like, yeah, your sister's. And I
No, if it's hair.
So that's the thing.
Fine.
If you are females, I think you can share things. Like I know my friends that share almost everything. Today you see this jean on one of the sisters. The next day,
someone
like,
else
it's my
is wearing
sister's clothes. So me, I never like to share anything. And my sisters were always angry at me because the two of them used to share things. Well, me, I'll be like, I'm not giving you. And they beg me. I'll just say, I give you. I leave you with Jesus. Anyways, we're growing up. Yeah, so they felt I was stingy. But there was this one time, my sister knew I was not around. I'm trying to get to the big fights or fallouts that you in the question. So she wore my top. Oh God, that beautiful top. She wore it, and then when she was coming back, I saw her. You can imagine how I flared up because it was one of my best tops at the time.
Okay.
I was still a teenager and I had saved my money to buy my top, and it was so fine. I saw her coming. Oh boy! I first went to go and tell my mother, my mommy, me and my sister, well, I called her name. Me and Slokas are going to fight today. So I went to go and meet her outside. I don't say she wear my top. That's how I see them pulling the top, trying to remove it from her body. I was so upset. But for me now, thinking about it, it's childishness. I still don't like to share my things as much, but there are certain things I can share. There are certain things I cannot still share regardless. So yes, it was me fighting over clothes with my sister. That was the biggest fallout I ever had.
How did you resolve that with her?
That period, we did not resolve it. But then now coming into adulthood, right, I share almost everything we have.
But was there a time, or now have you like apologized for that time?
No.
I will say I apologize, right? But because me too, I slept collectively at once. It's kind of made up for it.
Okay, Miss Key, please, let's hear your part.
I don't want to go into the major one now because if I start, I'll cry.
Oh no, we don't have to.
We don't want you to cry.
Yes, I don't want tears in this because I've not healed and I've not healed. They said healing is forgiveness, and I've not forgiven. That's true. So I don't.
Let's say you've forgiven, but you've not forgotten.
She's still your boyfriend.
All my sisters are married now.
Okay. I thought let's say backstory from.
Let's say maybe you've forgiven, but you've not forgotten, right?
I've not forgiven.
You've not forgiven?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Anyway,
I have to. I'm still talking to God.
Okay, no problem. Let's move on, please. Okay, why do you think some siblings become distant as they grow older?
Okay, firstly, I'll say that it's the comparison, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah. When there's constant comparison between the siblings by the parents, it can cause some distance. Then again, I'm trying to steal from what everybody has been saying. Yeah. And then because of like age difference or gap, so maybe I'm 2 years old. My next sibling is like 15. So growing up, we'll not really have a relationship because when I'm in primary school, she's already in the university. Maybe you now go for NYC, you now go and start serving. You move to another state. I would not really have a relationship. But another thing is sometimes I'll say some level of wealth, right, will make you have your room. This person has her room, and so you don't get to be together at all. So you don't have a relationship except somebody is taking a deliberate effort to actually go to this person's room and say, how are you now? Since morning I've not seen you. You just stayed in your room. You've been using your tab and stuff like that. So sometimes wealth, and then what else? I'll say that temperament. Sometimes when one sibling is very introverted and the other one doesn't feel like I don't want to always be the one constantly going to this sibling. And I'm always saying, how are you now? Talk to me now, and stuff like that. Now I will just stay back. So because of temperament, these ones will just stay in their different worlds, and it's like they are not siblings. Because I know a lot of siblings that do not get along. And then I think sometimes gender too. So if we're all females, there's a high likelihood that we will be close. Yes. But then when there's just one girl or one guy, and then you now notice that the person that has a different gender is not so close to the others, because those ones are probably always doing things together. They share things more together, so they will be closer. I would say I can't think of a lot right now, but these are the top of my head.
Okay, please, Miss Kim.
Chioma just
she has said everything. She has said everything.
That you were supposed to say. I was going to say. The whole not communication.
I think communication
again, and
exactly.
Then having your favorite in the family. For example, now you're my sister, she's my sister, and then Chioma is my favorite. I'll come and
you tell Chioma everything
about Emilia, and then Miss Emilia, and then Miss Emilia. it's just comparison, favoritism, and then everything.
Just may I add something before you go on to the next question?
Okay.
I think that one other thing is parental style or influence.
I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there. Okay, sometimes in some cases parents try to fix siblings issues, right? Should parents get involved in sibling dispute or let their children sort it out themselves?
Okay, I'm going to answer your question, but before then, it's still slightly different from what I wanted to say. What I was going to say was, it depends on the kind of parents that you have. If your parents always look for activities that bring the family together,
yes.
like they'll constantly say, oh, today we're having barbecue evening, everybody must leave your room, everybody must be present, and you must help out. Everybody, this one is doing the dishes, this person, all hands must be on deck, so you get to work with your siblings. But when you don't have activities that bring you together, then you will be far. So parents have a role to play.
Let me share a personal story.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up in a large family as well.
Okay.
Where every holiday we all come together. Like we could be up to 20 teenagers, children in the house. And one thing my uncle did was we all have our room, but there was no TV. So if we want to watch TV, everybody comes to the family sitting room to watch TV. If you're fighting, we're fighting in that sitting room.
I love that
idea.
If
you're eating, you don't take food, and that's why up to today I don't know how to eat on my own. I prefer to eat with someone. We eat together, even if one person is not around. We wait. We have time where we eat our breakfast and we have time where we eat our dinner. Maybe except lunch because of school and other stuff. But you see, dinner and breakfast, we all eat together. And that also help us to create bond between ourselves. Even though as we grow older, we are all scattered. Move out. Some people travel out. Jackpot too has also done a lot of to siblings. So I think parents should also try to create time for their children. For them to for them to bond, like Chioma rightly said. So
So now to answer your question, you said should parents be involved?
Yes.
The reason I said parents should be involved is because some siblings, especially at a very young age, when parents are involved, it teaches the children how to resolve conflicts. Because normally children would want to, some children, and this is not generic, some children would want to just stay to themselves and they start keeping malice, and that is a very bad thing for children to start doing at a very young age. And I'm speaking about this because I used to keep malice before. It feels like I have most of the bad traits, but anyways, I've changed. Right? So I just want to stay on my own. I don't even like to hear I'm sorry, and I never used to say I'm sorry. So my mother will now come and tell me, have you told her sorry? I'll say I'm not going to tell her. She said, have you told her sorry? I'll still say I don't tell her. So maybe like the third time, or when she emphasizes on it so much, I'll now probably go and say, oh yeah, sorry, but not from my mind. But after a while, she'll say, when you want to go and say sorry, say it like you mean it. Don't say it because I told you to go and say it. So over time, we now started setting our conflict ourselves. So initially, I think parents have to be involved because these children do not know how to apologize. They probably not have situations that had to have them apologize. Then after a while, when you start going into adult, that is when you need to start apologizing or reconciling your differences or when I say unsettlement or disagreement. Immediately it happens. Maybe not even immediately, but you need to know how to settle it. If something happens, you know when to come and say, oh, I'm sorry. You know when to come and not say I'm sorry immediately, but talk it out. Let us discuss this and really trash this before we now apologize and go back to being together. If not, it's going to cause some kind of rivalry.
That build up.
Yes, and if you continue to keep quiet, it's not lead to rivalry, enmity. You don't even want to hear about your sister. Yes, they'll ask you, how's your sister? You're like, that one. I don't know. She's there. Maybe she's probably sleeping. Maybe she's no relationship, and you don't even care about it, and that's very terrible.
Okay, Miski, please.
I think parents. That's why I said earlier on. I know they born more than 2 or 3, 8 children now, because it's. I think I saw a movie the other day. Sorry, and then he has like plenty children. It's natural. You can't avoid it. You have your favorites no matter what.
So are you saying having many children also affects the relationship that
and I think the parents do not have time for each of the children. They will not pay attention to them.
Do you understand? They won't notice, and maybe your dad does not want to offend his favorites. Maybe I come and tell him, oh, Emilia did this to me, and then Emilia is his favorite. Instead of you to call Emilia and say, Emilia, this is what happened between you and Aisha. Tell me your he doesn't want to offend her. He will just say, you know what, just apologize since she's your elder sister. They always use that term, since she's your elder sister.
Even when they're wrong.
They don't feel because you are the younger one, your elder sisters or your elder siblings are always right.
Yes.
They don't feel the younger ones need to be apologized to. They feel as per you are young, you should apologize
to the
always
older one.
It's a cultural thing.
Yes,
I think it's a cultural thing.
So it's really parents should get involved. But sometimes even when they get involved, they already know what they want to say at the back of their head. They already know that since she's the youngest, she's the last born, maybe she offended her, but let me just call the elder one. Hey, this person complained that this is what happened, and the other elder one will now call and say, okay, father will now say, oh, I know wahala now, sorry, and then the younger one is always at fault. So parents should, I don't think they should get involved, because they are not going to be they're not going to be honest with their judgments. They always feel the older ones are always right, because they have this mentality of old. They don't have the
especially when like the dad has a favorite child, the mom has a favorite child, and then the mom's favorite child and the dad's favorite now clash.
There's always a problem.
That's why you see parents in their different color.
You can't see her. She's very stubborn.
And she looks like she took after you.
She took after you, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. What role should elders or extended family play in helping siblings reconcile?
Okay, so I don't think I can speak so much about this, because I've never really had external family members or extended family members actually get involved in our family. But from the little that has been involved in our family, sometimes I feel like they kind of aggravate the situation. Instead of trying to make us come back together, they'll start trying to amplify this person's fault, amplify that person's fault, or start bringing in stories from the old. And I'm like, no, it's not necessary. So I don't think it should be involved. If your immediate family cannot resolve it, then it shouldn't go beyond. Except, of course, you people have a relationship, a very good relationship. Maybe your auntie is like your mother, or your extended family member stays with you and they want to be involved. That's the only time that they should be involved. Aside from that, nobody should call auntie in the village and go and tell her, oh, Chioma disrespected her elder sister. What should we do? No, it should be reconciled within the nuclear family.
Okay, Miss K.
There's something you said about having an aunt that is a mother figure.
Yes.
You should always have that person that will call and say, oh yeah, family meeting today.
Yes.
Everybody will sit down and say, okay, what happened?
What happened? Say your mind.
In front of that person, so you cannot even lie. What happened in front of that person? Oh, this is, and then reconcile and not take sides.
Yes.
No matter if,
someone that is neutral.
Neutral, yes, you should not take sides. They should always just listen to the first. There's three sides of every story. Your side, my side, and the truth. Just use your matured age to judge it.
Alright, guys. Let's talk about healing. What advice would you give to someone who hasn't spoken to their siblings in years?
I'll say, please just find a way to speak. I know that there might not be anything that actually interconnect both of you, but just even if it's just checking in on this person, knowing how the person is, knowing how life is going for the person, because we're adults. I mean, this is our adulthood. We are going through a lot of things.
We need each other. That's
sometimes just one person to tell you, I know that things are not easy, but just keep going. You're going to achieve your desired result at the end. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. I hate to say that, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep going. It can give you a level of boost and confidence. And then that's how you start to build relationship. And I think that, again, if you have family, it's good to, like, if you are my sibling now and you have a family, it's good to check in once in a while to at least know how your children, how your children are and what is going on in your family, because sometimes people are going through stuff, but because they don't come out to tell you doesn't mean they don't have problems. So sometimes you need to be the one to reach out to them, especially when you think of them. If you think of your sibling today, and again the thought comes tomorrow and it comes the day after tomorrow, I think it's a very, very clear-cut sign that you should just reach out to this person. This person might be going through stuff, and before you know it, maybe this person can open up to you on something, and then you can help the person. You might just have the answer or solution, and you save the person's situation.
Okay, Miss K.
I think firstly, you should heal first. You should heal, forgive that person from the depth of your heart.
How can forgiveness, whether given or received, begin the healing process? That's my last question for the two of you.
Okay, so I've not actually gotten to that place of hurt where I felt so terrible that I could not forgive. But I've been in a very close situation to that, so I can speak from that place. So I started first by I would not say forgiving myself, but admitting that I was wrong,
you were wrong,
in
yes.
some way. Because in some way, to the other person was wrong, and I cannot admit to the other person's fault. You were at fault. Admit that you're at fault. I have started by admitting that I was at fault, and then I tried to speak to you. So I started forgiving that person. Then I forgave myself, because I'm not going to lie. I was angry at the person for this stuff. It was not a very serious thing, but the fact that you did not admit made me angry. But when we had conversations, because I like to have conversations, even though it might be like we're quarreling, we'll keep going back and forth until we come to a point where both of us agree that okay, we are at fault, even though it was not intentional, but we both were at fault. So I just forgive. I think forgiving comes easily to me. That's why I say I cannot speak so much about forgiving, because I've never been so hurt that I had to say, God, please teach me to forgive. I've never prayed that prayer. So for me, forgiving is easy, and so I cannot really say so much about that, basically.
All right. Miski?
To me, I think forgiveness...
Do you want me to ask the question again?
I know the question.
Okay.
Forgiveness brings peace of mind.
Yes.
I agree.
It makes you like... and
relief.
And when you forgive someone that has hurt you so much,
Yes.
there's this weight.
Yes,
Like you
that
just feel
leaves-
this
yes.
peace within
You just-
yourself.
You know, when you see the person, you'll be like, now you they beef yourself. Oh, man, no, they beef you.
Yeah.
That is what forgiveness has done to me. I'll just say the person, I'm like, last, now everybody will be all right, you know? And then I'm happy, because deep down, it wasn't easy at first. I told myself, I literally told myself that I would never forgive this person. I said, even when I enter my grave, they should, you know, it was that bad.
That's
but,
saying over my dead body.
yes, it was that bad. But one day I woke up, I was tired and I was angry.
You're growing.
I was tired and was angry, and I told God. He said, no, it cannot be me. And I asked God, I said, please teach me to forgive this person. And then gradually, whenever I hear what the person is saying about me, it now brings back
the memory.
I'm not saying, God, I thought you said you will help me forgive now, you know. But now, funny enough, as long as you've forgiven and you've moved on, is the person that won't be angry, because when the person sees you shining and you are happy, the person will be like, she's not supposed to be angry at me. Why is she shining? But yeah, so I think forgiveness is something you should always try. Just be happy. That's what. Be happy, move on, forgive. Be happy, move on, forgive, and shine. Don't forget, shine, bro. glow.
Okay.
Today's conversation reminds us that siblings are not just family. They are our first friends, our oldest mirrors, and sometimes our most complicated relationships. But no matter the distance, there is always room for healing. So here is the challenge. Call your brother, text your sister, revisit the bond, not just the conflict.